Right now, 25 billion kilometers away from where you are sitting, there is a machine drifting through the darkness between the stars. It was built when disco was still on the radio. It has less memory than a single photo on your phone, and it is the farthest human-made object in all of existence. For almost half a century, it has been calling home, every single day, with a radio signal about as powerful as a refrigerator light bulb. But a few years ago, something changed. The messages stopped making sense. NASA's oldest spacecraft began sending back data that engineers could only describe as impossible. This is the story of Voyager 1. And in the next few minutes, you're going to learn 4 things. The mission that almost never happened. The discoveries that rewrote our textbooks. The mysterious signals that baffled NASA. And what happens on the day this little machine finally goes silent forever. Stick around for Chapter 4, because I promise you, the true explanation of those broken signals is stranger than any conspiracy theory you've heard. Let's start at the beginning. Our story begins in the 1960s, with a graduate student named Gary Flandreau doing summer work at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. His job was boring. Calculate the positions of the outer planets, over and over. But buried in those calculations, he found something remarkable. In the late 1970s, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune would line up in a way that only happens once every 176 years. A spacecraft launched at exactly the right moment could use the gravity of each planet as a slingshot, hopping from world to world, and visit all of them in a single mission. NASA called it the Grand Tour. The last time this alignment happened, Thomas Jefferson was president. There was just one problem: money. Congress looked at the price tag and killed the full Grand Tour. So the engineers got clever. They proposed a cheaper mission, officially just to Jupiter and Saturn. But quietly, they built the 2 spacecraft tough enough to survive far, far beyond that. Just in case. On September 5, 1977, Voyager 1 thundered off the launch pad in Florida on top of a Titan Centaur rocket. Fun fact, its twin, Voyager 2, actually launched 16 days earlier. But Voyager 1 was on a faster trajectory, and it overtook its sibling. That's why the numbers feel backwards. Each spacecraft weighed less than a small car. The onboard computers had about 69 kilobytes of memory in total. That is millions of times less than the phone in your pocket. The data recorder was an 8-track tape machine. This is the technology we threw at the stars. And somehow, it worked better than anyone dreamed. And because they knew there would be no repair shop where these machines were going, the engineers became obsessed with survival. Nearly everything on board has a backup. 2 computers of each kind, 2 receivers, 2 sets of thrusters. They even shielded the electronics against radiation like a tiny armored bunker. Remember that obsession with backups. In Chapter 4, it becomes the whole story. 18 months after launch, Voyager 1 arrived at Jupiter. And almost immediately, the discoveries started breaking things scientists thought they knew. Just getting close was an act of violence. Jupiter is wrapped in radiation belts strong enough to kill a human in minutes, and Voyager flew straight through them, absorbing a dose 1,000 times beyond lethal. Some of its electronics glitched. A few images came back smeared and torn, but the little machine gritted its teeth and kept taking pictures. The pictures showed the Great Red Spot up close for the first time, a storm wider than 2 Earths, churning like a hurricane that has been raging for centuries. Jupiter turned out to have faint rings nobody had ever seen, and its clouds swirled in patterns so complex that mission scientists just sat there, staring at the screens. But the biggest shock came from a place nobody was even looking. A navigation engineer named Linda Morabito was examining a photo of Io, one of Jupiter's moons, when she noticed a strange crescent-shaped cloud rising off its edge. It wasn't a cloud. It was a volcanic eruption, blasting hundreds of kilometers into space. Let that sink in. Before Voyager, Earth was the only place in the universe where we had ever seen an active volcano. Io turned out to be the most volcanically violent world in the entire solar system. One photograph, taken almost by accident, doubled everything we knew about volcanoes. Then came Saturn in November 1980. Voyager revealed the rings were not a few smooth bands, but thousands upon thousands of delicate ringlets, braided and twisted by the gravity of tiny shepherd moons. And it found something tantalizing on Titan, Saturn's giant moon. A thick orange atmosphere, rich in the same kind of chemistry that existed on the early Earth. Titan looked so interesting that NASA made a choice that sealed Voyager 1's fate. They steered it in for a close Titan flyby, and that maneuver flung the spacecraft up and out of the plane of the planets. Forever. No more worlds to visit. From that moment on, Voyager 1 had exactly one destination left, the edge of the solar system itself. Its twin went on to Uranus and Neptune, and to this day it's still the only spacecraft that has ever visited them. 10 years passed. Voyager 1 was now 6 billion kilometers away, climbing above the solar system, its cameras cold and unused. And that's when the astronomer Carl Sagan convinced NASA to do something that had no scientific value whatsoever. Turn the cameras around and take one last picture of home. On February 14, 1990, Valentine's Day, Voyager took the most humbling photograph in human history. Earth, from 6 billion kilometers away. Our entire planet is less than a single pixel, a pale blue dot suspended in a beam of scattered sunlight. Sagan put it better than anyone ever could. That it is where everyone you have ever heard of lived out their lives. Every king, every war, every love story, every triumph, and every tragedy, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Moments after taking that photo, the cameras were shut down for good to save power. Voyager 1 has been flying blind ever since. But Voyager doesn't just carry instruments. Bolted to its side is a golden phonograph record containing the sounds of Earth. Greetings in 55 languages. The sound of rain, of a heartbeat, of a mother kissing her child. Music from Bach to Chuck Berry. It's a message in a bottle thrown into the cosmic ocean, addressed to anyone or anything that might one day find it. My favorite detail on that record is a hidden love story. The project's creative director, Andrew Yen, recorded her own brainwaves and heartbeat for it, while thinking about the man she had just secretly fallen in love with, Carl Sagan himself. They married 4 years later, which means somewhere out there, past the edge of the solar system, there is a recording of a human heart in love that will outlive the Earth. The record is built to last more than 1 billion years. Think about that. Long after our sun has swollen and swallowed the Earth, long after every trace of human civilization is gone, that little golden disk will still be out there, still carrying the sound of rain falling on a world that no longer exists. And now we get to the part of the story I promised you, the signals. Because in its old age, this spacecraft has started doing things that nobody can fully predict. And in 2022, it genuinely scared its own engineers. First, understand how fragile this connection is. Voyager's transmitter puts out about 20 watts. After traveling 25 billion kilometers, the signal that reaches Earth is billions of times weaker than a watch battery. It takes giant 70-meter dish antennas, straining at the very limits of engineering, just to hear it whisper. And a message takes almost a full day to arrive. One way. In May of 2022, the spacecraft's attitude control system, the system that keeps its antenna pointed at Earth, started sending back telemetry that was pure garbage. Random values. Impossible readings. Here's the creepy part. The spacecraft itself was fine. It was pointed correctly, transmitting normally. It was as if Voyager was perfectly healthy, but had lost the ability to tell us how it felt. Engineers eventually traced it. Voyager had, for reasons nobody fully understands, started routing its telemetry through a computer that had been dead for years. A corpse computer, garbling every message it touched. They commanded it to switch back, and the patient recovered. But the question lingered. Why did a 45-year-old machine suddenly start talking through a dead computer? To this day, there is no confirmed answer. Then it got worse. In November 2023, Voyager 1 stopped making sense entirely. Instead of science data, it began transmitting an endless, repeating pattern of ones and zeros. Gibberish. The same nonsense, over and over, for months. The heartbeat was there. The voice was gone. Some engineers openly wondered if this was the end of the mission. Now think about the repair job. The spacecraft is 24 billion kilometers away. You can't touch it. You can't see it. You can't even have a conversation with it, because every question takes 2 days to get an answer. The engineers who built it are mostly retired or gone. Some of the manuals exist only as boxes of yellowing paper. And the computer you're debugging was designed before the pocket calculator was common. It took 5 months of detective work. The team finally pinpointed the cause. A single memory chip in the flight data system had died, taking about 3% of the computer's memory with it, including the code that packages data for transmission. The fix was pure genius. They performed brain surgery by radio, slicing the lost code into pieces and hiding those pieces in unused corners of the remaining memory. In April 2024, after 5 months of silence, Voyager 1 spoke clearly again. The room at JPL erupted. So no, it wasn't aliens intercepting the probe. The truth is arguably stranger. It's a machine from 1977, hit by cosmic radiation, freezing in the interstellar dark, dying one chip at a time, while a small team of humans keeps resurrecting it with nothing but radio waves, old paper schematics, and stubbornness. Every strange signal is a new chapter in the longest distance repair job in human history. And the resurrections keep coming. In 2025, engineers pulled off maybe their boldest trick yet. A set of backup thrusters that had been considered dead for over 20 years, their heaters written off since 2004, were coaxed back to life, because the main ones are slowly clogging after decades of use. Think about that. They revived hardware that had been frozen and abandoned in interstellar space since before YouTube existed. Those 1970s backups, the ones I told you about in Chapter 1, are the only reason this mission is still alive. Where exactly is Voyager 1 now? In August 2012, it crossed an invisible border called the heliopause. That's where the sun's wind of charged particles finally gives out, and the space between the stars begins. Voyager 1 became the first human object ever to enter interstellar space. It is, right now, swimming in the stuff between the stars. And interstellar space turned out to be far from empty. Voyager discovered it hums. Its instruments picked up a faint, constant vibration in the thin plasma out there, like the drone of an engine room, the background song of our galaxy. It found the pressure at the edge of the solar system was higher than predicted, and invisible walls of magnetic foam where nobody expected them. We only know any of this because one elderly machine is out there, listening. But Voyager 1 is dying. Its heart is a lump of plutonium that generates electricity as it decays, and it loses about 4 watts of power every single year. The engineers have been playing triage for decades, shutting down instrument after instrument, heater after heater, to keep the essentials alive. The spacecraft is now colder than its designers ever tested it for, and still, most of what's left keeps working. Sometime around 2030, give or take, the power will drop below what the last instrument needs. The transmissions will end. And here is the detail that gets me: Voyager won't stop. It doesn't need us. It will keep falling through the galaxy at 17 kilometers per second, silent and dark, effectively forever. In about 40,000 years, it will drift within less than 2 light years of another star, a small red dwarf called Gliese 445. By then, there may be no one left here who remembers it, or we may be a civilization it helped create, scattered across other worlds. Either way, the little machine with 69 kilobytes of memory will still be out there, carrying a golden record full of heartbeats and thunderstorms, the most distant thing we have ever touched. 2 engineers once slipped a message into Voyager's computer code, a line from a song, hidden where only the spacecraft would carry it. Because to the people who fly it, Voyager was never just a machine. It's the best of us, thrown as far as we could throw it. If this story gave you chills, subscribe, because this channel is all about the strangest true stories in space, and the Voyager saga is far from over. Drop a comment with the space mystery you want next, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep looking up.